I'm not a poor person like me. That's funny. Um, I have lots to say today. I feel like I have lots to say. First off, let us start with the fact that there's apparently a study in the UK. They did this study that said over a third of children are not able to use a book properly. So basically, the children are out here trying to scan, like zoom in as you would on like a device on an iPad. You inspired me to eat more home cooked meals. Cece, big up yourself, babes. Um, so children they're not able to turn the pages. They're tapping the books or they're trying to open them with their fingers. And I was just like, what is going on with the world? Hey, do your girls listen to audiobooks? Any recommendations? Great question, Bond 16. So my girls, we only listen to French books. So I'm not sure if that's helpful. I just go on YouTube and basically find French books. So like, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, or like, yeah, any French book on YouTube. Oh Lord, we're having technical difficulties. Um, so yeah, we listen to audiobooks probably every morning, and they have their favorites, and we listen to those. I'm not sure if that's helpful, but I don't have like a set thing that I do. It's whatever French books that I can find. I don't listen to English audio just because they have enough English in their lives. What made you decide this journey for them? Shelley, when you say this journey, baby, do you mean traveling? Do you mean French? Do you mean food? What do you mean? What was the hotel in Cambodia called that was child friendly? Oh, amazing. So it was called Tui Blue. I don't know if you know the Tui brand, but I always thought that Tui was like a budget brand, but they have another brand called Tui Blue, and those tend to be a little bit more bougie. So it was Tui Blue in Siem Reap. They don't do kids menus and they do whole food. It was great. And I would really recommend it. Their kids center was not like basic. They had their first massages, they did their first yoga, we did sound healing, all kinds of things. I'd really, really recommend it. Where are we at diet wise? Okay, so the reason why my children eat the way they do is because after breastfeeding them and we're coming up to weaning, and I was very excited, as you can imagine. I was just like, oh my gosh, their insides are never going to be this pure ever again, so I better get it right. And I basically worked backwards from that point. Where are we? What time is it now? It is just after midnight, so it's 4 minutes past midnight. You are so pretty. Thank you very much, the beautiful one. Big up yourself, babes. Are you teaching your kids to be ambidextrous? No, Christy. They're right-handed, and they definitely do most things with their right hand. It's never really occurred to me to try and make them ambidextrous, to be honest. Is there an advantage? You can use two hands. So I wanted to just quickly remind us the importance of reading. Your children should know how a book feels and how it works, and that it is not a device. And I think the fact that more than a third of children in the UK don't know how to use a book is a cause for concern. It's funny because I also received a message yesterday where somebody, and they said it with love, they said it with absolute love, it wasn't a criticism, and they said, if I'm not concerned that because my children are not using gadgets, will they be left behind from a technological perspective. And when I see these things, I really do smile, because if everybody was having their children and they were like coding and learning how to use AI or something, then I could perhaps understand the concern. But respectfully, people are just, you're watching something like this close to your face. So first of all, your eyes are deteriorating. And secondly, let's be honest, the things that our children are watching on these devices are not gearing them up to be the next programmer. So no, I don't have any concern that they will be left behind, because I also think that technology is designed for it to be intuitive. It's designed to be used very, very easily. And I think that by delaying their exposure to tech, I don't think it means that they're not having other skills that are important for the foundation for later on using tech. And if we look at all of the tech bosses, like all of the people who are creating these devices, creating these apps, they don't have their children on them. And I think the reason they don't have their children on them is because they know that it is a negative impact on their child's development. Do I believe in gentle parenting? I think that the gentle parenting that I see online tends to be a bit more passive. And so, from that perspective, no, I don't believe in gentle parenting. If gentle parenting is communicating with your child, being firm but fair, then yes, I believe in that version. I don't believe that it's necessary to shout. I've never responded well to shouting. I didn't grow up in a household where people had to shout for me to listen. So, I'm not suggesting that you need to be like a menace in your household, but I don't think that you need to be passive either. I love that you are teaching your kids how to eat healthy. Thank you very much, my darling. Yes, it reduces repetitive injury. I'm currently training myself as an adult. Christy, really interesting. I will definitely have a look on that. It's honestly never occurred to me to make them ambidextrous. Abiola, Miss April, I love how you live, so refreshing and beautiful. Thank you very much, my darling. On a TV show, they were saying how children try to zoom in. Yes, I saw it on This Morning in the UK. So it's over a third of children don't know how to use a book. I'm just like, how mad. But it also shows that we're reading less and less to our children. And reading to your kids can basically overcome socioeconomic challenges. You are setting them up, better than necessarily sending them to the best school just by reading to them. A lot of people are overweight because our parents didn't teach us how to eat correctly. 100%. Childhood obesity is going through the roof. For the first time in the world, overweight, the number of people that are overweight and having health issues as a result of that, has outdone the number of people who are starving, which obviously, win for the number of people that are starving, decreasing, but lose for why is the world population getting so heavy. April, I realized you can see comments from your past lives. You can. I didn't know that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and screenshot the lives for the fam chat. I've read every day to my child since 1 day old. He's 3 and can read. Big up yourself, Kaz and Hugo. I love that. My girls, their reading is really improving. It's very, very sweet. And we're doing lots of writing exercises. Today we focus just on writing. And it's honestly really, really heartwarming to see. You have to use the belt sometimes. No, you don't. My dad just had to give me the look. He just gave me the look and I knew whatever you are doing, reconsider it, take 2 steps back and think again. Stern doesn't have to be aggressive, 100%. Does work efficiently. Shelly, you are cracking me up. Hey, I just wanted to say I truly love your videos. Mellow, big up yourself, baby. Every time. Every time. Do I plan on coming back to the UK? Everybody keeps asking me about coming back to the UK. Do you miss me? The UK doesn't want me there. Honestly, the UK has given me signs that it was definitely time to leave, and I have no intention of coming back anytime soon. I was there last year to film 2 projects. I'm not filming those projects this year, so I don't have plans. I have planned the rest of the year of our travel, and it doesn't include the UK, but I will say today I was doing some geography with the girls. I was teaching them geography in French. Babes, I can barely teach geography in English. I don't know what came over me on this whole French thing, but we were doing some geography, so I showed them a map. We were identifying the 7 continents, explaining the difference between islands and countries. They were able to identify Jamaica, which made me very, very happy. And then I realized that Sri Lanka isn't that far from where we are, and maybe we should go to Sri Lanka. So I've just added that to the itinerary that I'm going to look into going to Sri Lanka. But the point is, I will continue traveling for the rest of the year, and it doesn't include the UK. How did you teach your girls to read without a curriculum? So my homeschooling really comes from the perspective of what are the core skills that I feel they need to learn. So I focus on numeracy, I focus on literacy and logical thinking. I think it's really important that my children have common sense. We all know common sense is not common, and we will not be having an addition to that population from this household of the non-common sense people. So in terms of reading, we have always read together, but normally I was reading to them, and recently I have decided that they will read, and of course I will correct. Some people are like, oh, but they're missing out on you reading to them. They're not missing out on me reading to them, because they will read the page and then I will read it back. So it's just more of a partnership rather than me reading to them only. Oh, the look. My parents came from each end of the earth, but they both had that look. The look is very effective. If you don't have your look, babe, work on it. Work on it. The look says a million things that words don't even need to be said. Here, common sense. I do not comment at all. Hi, Miss Universe. Hey, Warren. How are you, babes? I hope you're doing well. You said something up top and I missed it, babe. As a teacher, I can tell those who were read to and those who were not read to. It's scary how many aren't. I think people really underestimate the power of reading. And also, it's bonding. You know, when you snuggle up on your chair and you read together, I wouldn't want to miss out on that for anything, for anything. And for us, it has always been an evening activity. And since they have been reading more, I make sure that they read in the morning. So whilst I only speak French to them, reading is the exception. I do make sure that they read both French and English. So in the morning, we do French books, and in the evening, we do English books, which means that they're getting both languages every day from a reading perspective. Oh, in terms of French, I have figured out. I told you guys that my girls are speaking more and more English because they aren't hearing enough French around them, because no one else around me is speaking French. And so 2 days ago, we started this game, and a lot of people will disagree with it because some people say that you shouldn't force your children to speak the second language. I disagree. I have to make sure that the work that I'm putting in, my children don't grow up and say, oh, I understand French, but I don't speak it. They must be fluent in both. And so we play this game now where if somebody says an English word, then we go and we make a noise, right? And when we make the noise, I then have a book. Let me show you the book. So I have this little book here, and we do tally marks of when they say a word in English. And if you get 10 tally marks, it means that you only get one fruit that day instead of two. And the point is, one of my babies has done much better than I thought she would. So she only has 2 days of one fruit. The other baby has 8 days of one fruit. But the point is, they're taking it super seriously. It's also a game for them, so it's not stressful or like negative or mean. And it means that today, one of my children, she literally only said 7 English words for the whole day, and they are constantly speaking French now. So I'm very, very excited about this level of progress, and I just wanted to share it with you. In case you are teaching your children a foreign language and they aren't speaking enough of it, you may want to try this method out because it's really, really working for us. Just scrolling back through to your comments. How many languages do they speak? So they speak French and English. And yes, everybody wants to know if they understand or if they speak Jamaican patois. 100%. We are incorporating patois into their vernacular. My dad is really the key point for the patois because there's only so much that one person can do. I'm just scrolling back up because you guys know, if you've been here before on a live, you know that I do go through all the comments, and unfortunately it makes it more difficult for me because the thing just like to scroll up for no reason. So we're back. Shin, big up yourself, baby. How are you? Rich, you are so kind. You're the birthday girl, mom. Big up yourself, babes. Paris, at what age would you introduce your children to social media and how? So, to be honest with you, they will not have social media for a very, very long time. I'm one of those children that I had to wait until I was 16 for a phone. I did buy one when I was 14, I think, and then I hid it for like 2 years. So, I'm aware that they may do the same. People always say this, oh, they're gonna hide things from you or they're going to hide food from or all these things. I expect my children to hide certain things from me. It's okay. They're within the threshold, it is fine. I've said to my sister, for example, if they come to her with a secret, she must keep the secret for them. I would rather they come to a responsible adult for some advice. I'm fully aware that there are certain things that we may not tell our parents. For example, I curse like a sailor, but I would never curse to my father. I think that's okay. There are certain boundaries that children and parents don't need to cross, and that's okay. Hi, Kyle. Big up yourself, babes. So, are your kids going to eventually go to school? They may go to school. I'm open to it, but I also don't feel the pressure that they have to go to school. The school has to align with my values, and if you know me, you know that that list is quite long and also just quite particular, let's say. So if I don't find a school that aligns with my values, then they will not go to school. If I do find a school that aligns with my values, 100%, I'm happy to send them. Depends on the child. I needed the wooden spoon, but I personally will never do it. I do think that discipline depends on the child. I have had friends who tell me, say, let me get the slipper, and they admit that they needed it. You know, as I said, I only needed the look. I always wanted to be a good girl. So disciplining me wasn't very hard. Yes, it is nighttime, babes. It's actually into the morning where I am. But I try and come on a reasonable time for both UK and US, since that's where most of you are. But where are you guys actually? Where are you messaging from? That would be interesting to know. I've been to the UK twice this year. I've tried so hard to like it, but I just couldn't. Babes, it's honestly not for me. More from an energetic perspective, I don't find it to have an optimistic vibe. I find people to be quite miserable. Even in my podcast, on one of the conversations, I was comparing London and New York, because a lot of times the weather is very, very similar. But I find in New York, for example, the sky will be blue even when it's cold. And also the energy in New York is very much like, whatever you want to do, if you meet someone, they'll connect you with another person. Whereas I find in the UK, it's just if you want to win in the UK, it's seen as like a bad thing. I find the UK very anti-competitive, and by saying that you want to be the best, then somebody else has to lose, and that's not considered politically correct. So it just, again, alignment. It doesn't align with my vibe. Aaron, big up yourself, baby. How are you? If I remember correctly, you are tuning in from Trinidad. It really is a depressing place, 100%. How do you deal with jet lag? I don't get jet lag anymore. I haven't gotten jet lag from as a child, to be honest with you. My children did get jet lag once, really, really bad, when they were 2 and we went to Malaysia. And when we came back to the UK from Malaysia, the jet lag was serious. For like 3 days, my children weren't my children. Thankfully, touch wood, they have never experienced jet lag like that again. Have my children been to Jamaica? Babes, they are 5 years old and they have been to Jamaica 5 times. We don't play that game, okay? They know exactly where they come from. What age do you think it's appropriate to introduce screens? So in my mind, I'm leaning, for educational purposes, I'm leaning towards like the 7, 8 range. But again, it's not cast in stone. It really depends on the development and the vibe. I'll be honest with you, today I saw them playing like next to the pool, not in the pool, but next to it. And in my mind, I was just like, I don't want that to change. I don't want their made up games, their creativity, their imagination to get, culled, if you like, by the use of a screen. And on the other hand, I cannot wait to watch movies with them. I cannot wait to, watch things in French, again, to reinforce the language. But I think everything in life has an opportunity cost, and the cost right now for screens is far greater than what we would gain, in my opinion, which is why we're not doing it at the minute. Valo, thank you very much for being positive and kind. Environment could be added. Charles, baby, what do you mean? You've asked about Jamaica. We've asked about languages. We have asked about, just scrolling through the questions. O. I'm not sure what O is referring to. Guys, if you are new to this live, I do take a little bit of time to get to the comments. So I need a little context, okay, babes? I need a little context to know what you're commenting on. My father didn't allow me to speak English with him. What language did you speak, Ghost Tiger, with your dad, out of interest? Cece, thank you very much for being so kind, babes. It's done the stupid scroll up something. So if I lose you on the comments, I promise it's not my fault. Belgium, big up yourself. I've been to Belgium. I had lots of good food, good wine, nice people actually. Your videos are my happy place. Razzle, big up yourself. Zimbabwe, I love people from Zimbabwe and I've never been. South Africa, big up yourself, Riri, big up yourself. London, 7 even. Oh, so we have people from all over, babes. Another from South Africa. UK can be bad vibes. Oh, Belgium, another. Oh, Guyana, check out the global. Germany, Quan. I got social media at 15, reset it a lot of times. Kind of wish it was put off longer. Everyone, thank you for sharing that. I mean, late teens is definitely where we're at. Jamaica, big up yourself. Barbados, South Africa. You're in Belgium too. Nikki. Oh, honestly, I don't know why I'm surprised, but yes, thanks to the internet, we are all over the world. So yeah, the reading thing is really important. Please read. And also let your kids see you reading. That's something that I've only been doing recently. So before I didn't have time to read. I was like, this is ridiculous. And then I realized we have to make the time. And I do love reading. My dad used to have to pay me to read when I was little because I did not like it. And then I started reading too quickly. And so I'm going to stop paying me because I'm reading too quickly. And by that time, I'd fallen in love with reading. And I've realized for my girls, I want them to see me reading, as in reading for myself. I think, again, you know how I feel about modeling behavior. So there are times now during the day, I'll just take a few minutes and I will make sure that I read so that they can see that even when I'm not reading to them, it's also something that I enjoy doing. And I think that that will encourage them to read as they continue to get older. So we've covered the reading, we've covered the trick that I told you about French. I think I've already told you that now I'm thinking of going to Sri Lanka. I don't know anything about Sri Lanka. I've had Sri Lankan food twice. I really, really enjoyed it. And I will probably try and film the podcast there. So today I released a Jamaican episode. I don't know if you guys know, but I have a podcast called Babes, How Did You Get Here? And I basically go around the world and I find people who have moved abroad. And today I released a Jamaican episode with a lady who founded a chocolate company in Jamaica. So she's from Cote d'Ivoire. She moved to Jamaica with her husband and her son, and she founded a company called Little More Chocolates. They are beautiful. The packaging outside, stunning. Absolutely stunning, like vivid colors, very Jamaican, right? And the flavors, she has like Scotch bonnet, she has one with plantain chips. So again, influenced by Jamaica. She fell in love with Jamaican cocoa, and the bars themselves have like splattered paint looking artwork on them. Again, really, really stunning. She's won so many awards. And what was really interesting about speaking with her is that she employed a company, a branding company in New York, and they advised her to change the name. They were like, nobody's going to understand what little more means. And they asked her to change it to little more. And she pushed back and she said, no, the brand is little more. She had heard this saying since she moved to Jamaica, and she found it as really endearing and representative of our culture. And I'm so happy that she stuck to her guns and made that decision. And I think it's also important to remember that consumers are open to learning new things. They're open to hearing something and discovering that it tells a story. Hi from Florida, big up yourself, babes. And I think we can't be afraid to push boundaries, especially when that gut instinct is telling you that this is what you want. So she kept the little more vibes, and her chocolates were at Fortnum and Mason in the UK. They're sold in the States. They're sold all over. So it was really, really good to have a conversation with her, and I was really grateful that she shared that with me. Her name is Nadine Burry, and the conversation's live. So if you do want to go see that after we're done here, babes, you should go have a look. And if you have not subscribed to my podcast, what are you doing? What are you actually doing? Okay, babes? Oh, and you can also listen to it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well, in case you don't have time to sit and watch it. I wish I could send my daughter to you every summer. Maybe that's what I should do. I said to myself today that if by the end of the year I could be living in Jamaica, I would be really, really happy. So maybe I should have like a summer camp in Jamaica for people and then pick me. But I am thinking of doing a retreat. People keep messaging me about retreats, and I put it on my Instagram story and on TikTok. And a lot of people showed interest. Obviously, showing interest on social media versus actually paying your money, I appreciate is two different things, but I was thinking about organizing a retreat for Bali next year. So it'd be interesting to know from you guys if that's something that you would be interested in. And the thing that I really want to know is that if you go on a retreat, do you want to be able to bring your child, or did you want that time to kind of fill up your own cup? And just get away, in the sense of the word retreat is to kind of get away. So that would be really interesting. That's the thing that I'm working with. And then somebody else said, I'd love a retreat in Jamaica. I would love to host a retreat in Jamaica. We all know how much I love Jamaica and I talk about it all the time. And so then I said, let me put some feelers out to like maybe the hotels or resorts that we could do this from as our base. But don't worry, I would never keep you in the walls of a hotel, because I don't believe that's how you see the best of Jamaica. So I'm kind of toying between, do we do Bali and Jamaica? Do we do one and maybe not the other? Do we allow people to bring their children? These are all the things that are kind of ruminating in my mind, which is also a good way to tell you, like, someone said this morning, so I was on live this morning before the episode, the podcast episode went live, and people were like, oh, you're really positive. And I was explaining that being positive for me is probably more challenging than people would presume. It's easier for me to be positive for others than like my inside voice can be quite negative. But I do also think that I'm at a stage where, when you're on the cusp of getting what you've asked for, I feel like I'm on the cusp of getting what I've asked for. And for that, I'm very grateful. And I'm just like, I have to keep going, because if I stop now, I may never find out what more was coming. And sometimes, depending on where we are, like mentally, that can be quite difficult. But I just really wanted to kind of share the positive vibes and just be like, you don't know what's coming. You don't know what's coming, and look around now and really appreciate the blessings. Today I was reflecting on my dad. My dad is an amazing, amazing human, because he doesn't just like support my dreams and my desires and my goals with words and pep talks, but he's just like, tell me, what do I need to do to help you make it happen? And I was like, what a privilege. I sent him a message not that long ago, before I jumped on here, just to say how many people can share their dreams with their dad and not only just get like, you can do this in words, but action, like you're willing to take action. And that is something that is not lost on me, the privilege and the blessing of that. Emma, you're so cool. I'm learning so much from you. Thank you very much, babes. Send me money. What do you do for a living to be traveling the world? Really great question. So I coach parents. I sell parenting courses. I know everyone online is selling a parenting course, or sorry, selling a course. But my style of parenting, I've realized, is probably more unique. And I felt that it was, people constantly ask loads and loads of questions, and I really wanted to map out the framework. So I have 3 courses. One is Parent Like a CEO, one is Feed Like a CEO, and one, which is actually the most popular, which I nearly didn't make, is Managing Tantrums Like a CEO. So I really focus on overall parenting style, obviously how to feed your children from sort of weaning up until early childhood, and then managing tantrums, because that seems to be people's main concern. And then my podcast is monetized on YouTube, so it doesn't bring in fortunes, but it brings in like a change. What was the French trick? Oh, so basically my children were speaking too much English. And so I have gamified, if they speak English, they basically get a point. And if you get 10 points, you get 1 fruit. So my children eat 2 fruits a day, because yes, I do believe that too much sugar, even in fruit form, people love to come on the app and tell me, say, oh, all sugar is sugar. All sugar is not sugar. Some sugar bring other nutrients, bring fiber, bring other valuable things for the body, and that comes from your fruits and your carbohydrates. And then you just have bullshit sugar, right? The two are not the same. I don't understand why we live in this world where we're trying to pretend that they are the same. They are not the same. And having said that, I don't want my children to be eating fruits all day, every day, and not eating anything else. So they know that they have 2 fruits a day. They've always had 2 fruits a day. And that does not include their daily coconut. And of course, if there's like fruit in the salad, it doesn't include that either. But they get to pick 2 fruits for themselves every day. And so basically, if they say 10 English words, then they have 1 fruit a day rather than 2. And they love this game. Honestly, they love the game. And it's been a great way to bring back the French all the time. You're awesome. You inspire me to be more healthy, stay blessed, and educating us people. Thank you very much, Safa. Big up yourself, baby. I don't know if this is a bit personal, but do the girls' father live with, and does that affect your family? Live with? Tati, do you mean live with us? So no, he doesn't live with us. Hi from Trinidad. Big up yourself, baby. My brother and I got a lot of licks growing up. All Caribbean parents beating syllables shaped me today. I don't know why I'm laughing. I think I'm laughing because it brings like a vivid image, and I do appreciate that in Caribbean culture, it is very much the norm. And it works for some people. Plantain chips, you have me craving. I love some plantain chips right now. We haven't even had plantain in so long. Normally I'm able to get it, but the guy who sells it, there's this one man in the market that sells plantain, and he has been closed for weeks. Priya, baby, finally alive. How are you doing, my darling? We tend to be on lives on the weekends now, babes. I've made it a regular thing. How are you? Hi from Kenya. Kenya's on my list. I was wondering, do you make desserts after dark yourself? At the minute, no. I order all of the desserts after dark. I don't have time. But honestly, I would love to make desserts, because a lot of times mine would be better, just saying. But also, when you make a dessert, like if you make brownies, you can't just make one serve. You just make a batch, and no one's here to eat it with me. So I'll have to figure that out. And also, in these Airbnbs, there's just not enough equipment. Will you move back to JA? It is my dream. Imagine if by the end of this year, I can come on live and just be like, guys, I've moved back to Jamaica. That would make me so happy. Maisie online, I'm not sure why you're saying yes, but I'm glad that you're agreeing to something. Are you from Jamaica? Yes, baby, I'm from Jamaica all day, every day. I just have a very mixed up accent, so it's not your fault. It's definitely mine. Mia, you're on the yes too. I don't know what everybody's saying yes about, because as you can tell, I talk too much. So by the time I get to the comment, I have no idea what it was about. Scrolling back up to get to your comments, and I'm blind. I always say this, that I should bring my glasses when I come on these lives, and then every time I come on, I forget. Okay, that's such a hard question, because I'd love to fill my own cup, but I also think it would be to have children, to bring your child. How old's your child, Mia? Really good to know. You're my comfort creator. You're 22 and you're not a parent, but my content heals you. Big up yourself, babe, and live your best life, okay? 20s are an amazing, amazing age. And I feel like I learn a lot from you as a mother. Thank you very much, my darling. Are you familiar with the non-profit organization called Girls Stand Up? No, I'm not. Tati, tell me more. Is it nighttime for me? Yes, it is. It's actually midnight 34. How do you speak so incredibly? Crosses, first of all, thank you for thinking that I speak very well. And secondly, babes, it's too much talking. I talk too much. And if you do anything for a lot or a long time, you have to get good at it, right? Nat, big up yourself, babes. You asked about desserts after dark. That's amazing. What was your mother like? So my dad, as you can tell, is my person. My mother left me when I was a teenager. When I say left, I mean I came home one day and the helper told me that she was gone, and I've not seen her. So I have no relationship with her at all. And honestly, that has helped me be a better mother. I was very scared to be a mom before, because I thought that whatever issues that she had, could that be some genetic connection? And the day my children were born, I did not sleep. I did not sleep for more than 24 hours, because I was just staring at them in complete disbelief. My dad was like, okay, books, but you need to go to bed now. And I'm like, I just can't. I can't believe they're here. My brain was just like, where did you guys come from? I still look at them like, where did you come from? And I genuinely think that between me being an overthinker and that experience of her leaving, has just made me the person that I am. And I will say, I've said this before, so forgive me if you've heard it on a live before, but I feel like I have my public persona, which is very confident, you know, very sure of myself. But like everyone, we have our insecurities, we have things, the niggly things, and in our like private own time. However, parenting, like mothering my children, is the first time that my public and private persona are exactly the same. There is nothing that anybody can tell me to give me any doubt in my style of parenting that works for me and my children, because I see them every day. And every day, I'm not exaggerating, every day I am in awe. I'm in absolute awe of them, because they're such incredible humans that it has also, it's not about like feeding my ego, but it has healed me in a sense, because I'm like, boy, I can't be that bad. If I have made these people the way they are now, I can't be that bad. And I think in a weird, like round the circle kind of way, I do think I got over the trauma of my mother leaving. In my 20s. I've lived more of my life without her than with her, but it was truly having my children and seeing them and realizing that I just can't be that bad of a person. And what I mean by that is, when we know something cognitively, we don't always feel that emotionally. So cognitively, I knew that it was not my fault that as a child my mother left, right? But my feelings on the inside, especially when we hear all about the mother-child bond and all of these things, my feelings at the time, first of all, I didn't tell my best friend that she had left for about 3 years. I lied. I said that she was traveling. I said all kind of things. And then I think there was a part of me that was blaming myself for her leaving, right? Because if a mother is supposed to be so attached to her child, then there must be something wrong with me for her not to be attached to me. And now with my own children, all of those feelings kind of just went out the window. So I don't even know how I got into that. Oh, somebody asked about my mother. Did you use ChatGPT to write the courses? No, I did not use ChatGPT to write the courses. So my course framework came from, I do believe that, again, my parenting training wheels, if you like, was managing my teams. So I'm used to own 2 restaurants, and I used to employ about 22 people, and my core team, like members of my core team, had been with me 6-8 years, which in hospitality is very good, especially because they weren't with me for the money, right? I could not compete with the big corporate companies in terms of salaries. And the fact that I was able to have people that loved working with me, that still speak to me to this day, I think it was real practice for getting the best out of people, for creating a culture that encouraged people whilst still making sure that your standards were high. And so I reflected on, which is why I say parent like a CEO, because I do think that being a boss helped me be a great parent. And I realized that not everyone has had the opportunity to manage people before they've had kids. Like for many people, their children is the first time that they are responsible for another human. And so I reflected on what were the skills that I was able to perfect or polish during my time as a business owner, and how has that applied to my parenting. So so no to the ChatGPT flex. Exactly, Ella, I'm not sure what is exactly, but glad that you agree. How to react to people petting my child outside? Petting? As in petting like a dog? Babes, that's weird. Why are people petting your child? Girl, you have me here blending fruit juices with my daughter. She's napping already, tired. Babes, big up yourself. Since you cook with your kids, what is the one dish that your kids love to cook? Great question. So breakfast, they always make breakfast, and breakfast for us is scrambled eggs. So they will always crack the eggs. I do add a little milk, and they will whisk the eggs. They do that every day. We just did a new food for them to prepare, was the prawns. So they've eaten prawns loads of times. They've peeled prawns cooked, but they've not deveined them. So I shared a video, I think it was yesterday actually, on them deveining the prawns themselves, and they love doing that. They've already asked when are we doing that again. They love making gnocchi. So we did that recently. They've asked if we can make gnocchi again together. Today we did a new thing, which I am going to include in my cookbook. I'm manifesting this cookbook. An agent, I had a meeting with a literary agent in the States. So it's encouraging. I think I'll decide who the agent's going to be. And we did some rice paper. So, like Asian style rice paper. You soak it in water for about 3 seconds. You don't want to soak it for too long because it gets too sticky and it will tear. So we soaked it for 3 seconds and then we filled it in with some roast chicken, some not Asian ingredients. So normally these rice paper rolls are filled with like cilantro or maybe some meat and a lot of greens. We didn't do that. We filled it with beetroot, avocado, and roast chicken and some lettuce. And then we wrap those, and I will definitely include that in the cookbook because it's something that we did and they really enjoyed it. And this book, as you can imagine, whilst it's, yes, for adults to cook great food for their families and for themselves, I have this dream to really encourage people to cook with their children. So I've tried to include recipes where kids are able to get involved. Scrolling back through, thank you very much for your patience. There's a lot of messages and I will get to all of them, I promise. Have you seen the mother who was swearing at her child while doing her hair? So I did a video responding to that. I didn't tag the lady because there's no need, but I shared a video just saying I was really shocked, not just by her behavior. She was properly cursing at her child, which I just thought was weird, but people's comments were just like, she's being a mother. That's what mothers are supposed to do. People are really supportive of this kind of behavior, which I think was even more concerning than the mother herself. And in my opinion, that is no way to speak to a child. I don't get it. As I said, I can curse like the best of them, but I do think that there's a time and a place, and it really put me off. It made me physically uncomfortable to watch. Priya, thank you very much for being so kind, babes. My favorite TikTok mom, Riri, big up yourself, babes. Hi from the Bahamas. Bahamas is on my list. I want to see the beaches, babes. I want to see the beaches. That will be amazing. Nat, I'm not sure what will be amazing, but I'm glad that something that you have heard is going to be amazing. It has done the thing, the scroll up thing, so I'm just doing the scroll back thing. Okay, we're back in business, babes. Hi, please could you consider making a video of recommended dishes for uni students? I will think about how to do that. But honestly, like, food is food, babe. Food is food. I will try and share more budget recipes, but I don't think the ingredients that I use are that expensive. Obviously the prawns, I appreciate fresh prawns is not necessarily accessible for most, but most of the time we're just eating chicken and vegetables. But I will try and be more helpful. The retreat, ? What are you asking, baby? Could you do a morning routine with your daughters? When you say morning routine, as in the whole, like, we sing the national anthem every single day. I know for some people that's strange, but when I went to school in Jamaica at Assembly, you sang the anthem every day, and I wanted my children to know the anthem. Again, I'm constantly planting these seeds about their heritage, and for me, that is a part of it. But let me know, Rose. I'm calling you Rose because that's what your picture is in your name. But let me know what you would like to see and I'll make that happen. Are you England based? Not anymore, baby, but I used to be. So for 10 years, I was based in London. Aisha, big up yourself, my darling. Yes, could you do some healthy uni meals? Love your content. Amy, big up yourself. When did you have kids? 5 years ago. They're 5. Yes, for the retreat and children's camps. So Maisie, you want the retreat with kids or you want the retreat just for grown people? Not a parent, but I love your videos. Can't wait to be a mom like you. Kiwi, big up yourself. Can you explain how you plant their heritage into your daily routine? So I have done a video on this. I've shared a video on all the platforms, babes, about the things that I do to make sure that they know they're Jamaican. So one of the things is a part of their morning affirmations. So they say their name, their full name in the mirror. The second one is I am Jamaican. And then we say some other things after. As you can see, I always wear this chain every single day. My children know that this is the island of Jamaica. Today, when we're doing our little geography session, they were very quick to identify where Jamaica is. And if you've ever seen a world map, babes, you know that Jamaica is very, very small. We're small. We're little, but we're Talawa. So I was very happy that they were able to identify that. My children today asked me if I can find some pictures of Bob Marley's children because the taxi driver was asking me if Bob Marley has any kids. and if any of his kids are in music. I'm like, boss man, have you been living under a rock? So after they heard this conversation, they then wanted to see who Bob Marley's children were. They know Bob Marley's music. They know his songs. My dad's favorite Bob Marley song is Redemption Song. So they know that. They know Three Little Birds. That was my first restaurant, Three Little Birds. And so music is a huge part of making sure they know their heritage. They know Nancy, Sister Nancy, bum, bum. They know that. They're like, can you play that song? I'm like, of course I can. Thank God that it's clean. That's the great thing about reggae music, you know. You don't need to worry about bad blood. You don't need to worry about the message. It's always good, positive vibes. So we make sure the music's involved. Again, in terms of food, so cassava, my children eat cassava, them eat pumpkin, them eat dasheen, them eat callaloo, them eat fish whole with all the bones because they've been to Hellshaw and they want to eat like papi, which is how you say granddad in French. And so food is a big part of making sure that they know that they're Jamaican. And of course, visiting and creating those memories. If you ask my children where they're from, they say Jamaica without hesitation. I think they probably think they're born in Jamaica, to be honest with you. Did you come to Sydenham Girls graduation? Sorry, Aisha, I'm laughing because I was a speaker at Sydenham High School graduation many years ago and people were not happy about it. I was very, very taken aback by what I saw at this high school in England. And I tweeted, I'm not even on Twitter anymore since my man took it over, but I tweeted that I was surprised. So just for context, I went to this high school in the UK and I was a speaker for their graduation. I wore very little makeup because I'm always very aware about how you present, particularly to young women, young ladies, young girls. And so I had a shawl on because I do think that there is something about showing young girls that you can dress confidently and you don't have to show all the things. Let's keep in mind I don't really have much to show, but still. And I then get to the graduation and basically like a girl's boob tape lifted as she was coming on the stage and I was just confused. You also have to understand I'm from Jamaica. In Jamaica, when we graduated high school, even though we wear the American style gown over the top, your dress had to be below your knee, right? We had a very strict dress code. So I come to England and people are wearing like 4-inch hookah heels to their graduation, though the weaves were like giving Real Housewives. I was just confused. I was very confused and I innocently tweeted about my confusion. I did not name the school, but clearly the people who were at that graduation knew that that's what I was talking about. They were very upset. They started calling my restaurant to, I guess, try and verbally abuse me, but I had Teams, so I never had to speak to anybody because I wasn't answering the phone. They started writing bad reviews on Google, so I had to contact Google to tell them that there were false reviews. People were very upset about my opinion about their children. Some people said, oh, but you are Miss Jamaica and you are on a stage in a bikini, so how are you going to criticize young girls for what they're wearing at their graduation? In my mind, being Miss Jamaica and it being a requirement for you to be on the Miss Universe stage in a bikini is not comparable to being 16 and being half dressed at your graduation. So Aisha, I'm not sure which camp you're in, if you're in the Down with April camp for having an opinion about how young ladies dress, or if you're in the I see where she was coming from. But either way, yes, I am the person that was speaking at the graduation many, many years ago. Hopping off, gonna carry my cousins to the pool. Haven't had Korean roti in a while. Oh, babes, I want some Korean roti. Everyone big up yourself. Mal, that's really nice. Do your desserts have to follow the same diet habits you usually have? Do you mean do I eat sugar? So just to be clear, I consume sugar. I eat sugar, not a lot of it. I don't have sugar like if I have a coffee. I don't eat sweet things all the time, but I eat dessert with sugar, like normal dessert. My no sugar thing is for young children because their brains are developing. A lot of people say, oh, so why are you allowed to have sugar but your children aren't? Because I'm 37. I'm 37. I also drink alcohol occasionally with my meal. I do lots of things that children can't do. I come from the school of thought that me and you is not the same size. If you're from Jamaica, you understand what I mean. We love your yap. Pick up yourself, baby. I'm on the fence of having kids. I love them, but I'm not excited for the partner part. So, Tati, I will tell you that although I'm a single mother, it is not being a single mother by choice. There is no glorification of single parenthood over here. I genuinely believe that children are better off with a two-parent household, but I also have to deal with the cards that I was dealt. So if you're not excited for the partner part, I would really strongly recommend that you hold off on the children part, but take my opinion with a pinch of salt, babes. I tell people all the time, take the things that you like about what I say and just dash with the rest. It's fine. I don't take it personally at all. I also don't think that everything that I say and do is appropriate for every household. I'd say that, we have different desires, different dreams, different goals, and therefore the things that we're going to do in life are also going to be different. Where in the world are you right now? I'm in Indonesia. Scrolling through. Yes, could you do some, uni meals? Everybody wants uni meals. Do I have siblings? I do. I have one brother and one sister. They're a lot older than me. I don't know if that's relevant, but yes, I do have siblings. Oh, we have the high school question. Oh, we have the parent question. Oh, we have the dish question. I'm clearly been talking too long. X live Eve, big up yourself. No, please. Oh, student meals. Jay, I don't know why you're laughing, but I'm glad that you're laughing. Ellen Aya, big up yourself, babes. No, I'm the same. I didn't have a mom or dad growing up, and I would never do anything what she did. Sometimes we hear of people's stories where they have been abused or they have been through some sort of hardship, and you think that they would never do the same again. And for whatever reason, they end up repeating history. That was one of the things that I was concerned about, but I'm not concerned about that now. How did it go with the French school interview? So I haven't had the French school interview yet. We need to fly to a different country to go to the school, and then I will do an update video. Thanks. I wanted to know a bit about your relationship with your mother. I'm guessing you heard the answer. Scrolling back through. Gaza Ashley, big up yourself, baby. How are you? 2 restaurants in Brixton and Clapham. Did you know the restaurants, babes? Sometimes I do miss my restaurants, but I also really know that it was time. It was time for me to leave the UK, and I wouldn't have been able to do so if I hadn't closed them. Broke until payday, baby. Big up yourself and your cute dog. Your dog is so cute. It's like, no, I didn't use ChatGPT. People keep coming at me with this ChatGPT things. Even with my voiceovers, people comment and they're like, oh, the ChatGPT script. I'm like, how dare you? I'm a pen and paper girl, okay? I'm old school. I sit here and I write out what I want to say. And people are going to comment and say it's ChatGPT. How disrespectful, rude, and out of order. Where are we at? Maybe I should have used ChatGPT and saved my ass some time. But you said you were coming off. Aaron, you're still here. Do your kids not get curious when you use your phone making videos? So I do want to do a video about this because we were at gymnastics the other day, and this little girl, it was her trial class. So it was a class that she was doing, testing it out for the first time. Now, this is age 5 to 6. This little girl, before she started the gymnastics class, she said to her mother, please video me. And I thought, oh, that's a bit odd. During the gymnastics class, she stops several times. She leaves the mat to come and say to her mother, are you videoing me? And I was like, what is going on? Then I realized that is what people think of me. They think that my children would constantly be on my phone or looking at my phone. So I just want to make something really clear. When I film content, for example, if we are having lunch or having a dinner, that lunch or dinner takes 2 to 3 hours, no exaggeration. We eat very slowly, we do not rush, we talk. Tonight we were doing their spelling whilst we were eating, so a lot is going on at the dinner table. Of that time, I will take maybe 3 to 4 minutes in total to take pictures or videos of the food, right? 3 to 4 minutes versus 2 to 3 hours, as you can understand, is very, very different. My children never watch the content back on my phone. So they never see a video of themselves. And I think that part is really important because this little girl that kept asking her mother to film her, I was like, first of all, why is that even on your mind? You're at gymnastics class. But clearly she's used to watching the videos back with her mom. So there's this this association of how do I look on my phone, which again, coming from a young child, which we know that with girls, they start to want to lose weight at the age of 6, which means that they're also thinking of their image from that young age. If we sit and we watch videos of our children with them, whilst as adults we might think that that's innocent, you're just sharing the moment with your child, seeing this girl even more confirmed that I will not be sitting watching my children on my phone with them, because then they start to think about that perspective, right? What do they look like from the outside? And I just don't want my children thinking about that. So no, they don't get curious about when I'm making videos. If I film me eating, like as in point to camera, they know that I'm quickly doing a video for my work. That's what they'll tell you. And I've done the video, you put the phone away, and it's done. If you are at our dinner table and you have your phone, my children will tell you no phones are allowed at the dinner table. And so we don't have this culture in our house that we're like watching things on phones. Also, a part of the reason I have to go to bed so late is because I don't use my phone around my children. So I don't edit things around them. I don't scroll on anything around them. So when I put them to bed at 8 o'clock, they used to go to bed at 7 o'clock, but they're big girls now. So they go to bed at 8 o'clock, and then from 8 o'clock, I have to cram everything. So I'm cramming the editing, I'm cramming outreach, I'm cramming planning the podcast, I'm cramming scheduling our flights. What are we going to do? Today, I've planned out the rest of our trip here. Like, this is what I'm doing. And that's why I don't go to bed until 2 to 4 in the morning. Have they ever tried to use your phone? No, my children don't use my phone. I don't even ask them to get me my phone. So if I needed to check the time for something, I will go and get it, because they should know, and it should be constantly reinforced, that the phone is not for children. If they see other children on phones, which is something I get asked a lot, they will say, why is the child on their phone when it's not good for their eyes? And they say so really confused and concerned why any adult would let the child on the phone. And I explain that different families do things differently. So I don't have that issue. Also, I just want to make it really clear that setting boundaries has never been a problem for me. It's never been a thing. It was dreadful. I don't know what was dreadful, babes. Ella. Oh Lord, it's gonna scroll all the way up to 100 plus comments. But Ella, I'm not sure which part was dreadful. Maybe it was the woman cursing at her child. Maybe that part was dreadful. But that's a me problem. I'm very sorry that I took so long to get to the comment. But I mean it with love. Scrolling back up to try and find where we did there. It won't even let me scroll all the way up. So I'm going to just go from where it let me. And if I'm back at It Was Dreadful. I love your content, never want children, but if I did, I want to raise them like you. Thank you very much, my darling. Lilith from Sweden, big up yourself, babes. We're in Sweden, babes. Hi HJ, how are you? Eternal Father, bless our land, babes. The other day we were singing it and Maya said, but they did not say, teach us. I said, yes, we did. We sang the second verse. She was very concerned that we didn't sing the second verse of the anthem, and we did. Your aura is unmatched. Fatima, big up yourself, baby. You asked why everyone was posting yes. I suggest, the retreat. Thank you, Ella. See, I'm a bit slow. Sorry. Not to be nosy, but what is your occupation? My occupation is podcast host, parent coach, and I sell courses. A company got in touch with me today because they want me to be the consultant on their menu for a new hotel that is opening in Jamaica. I was like, let us add that to the CV, babes. So yes, my background is in restaurants. I'm technically a chef in the sense that I have cooked and people have paid for it for 10 years. So, but I was never trained as a chef. I just one day decided, cool, I'm going to open up a restaurant. And that's a whole long story in and of itself. Scrolling through, at least you're on the map. Lots don't even show my small island, as we're called 246. Big up yourself, babes. We have to big up the small map, the small island people. It's so important to raise your kids with the knowledge of their culture. I honestly tell people that being Jamaican is my armor to the world. So whenever people said anything, whether they were trying to be insulting or not, you can't touch this, babes. When the self-esteem and the confidence comes from knowing who you are, those things just don't matter. Would you ever introduce the girls to soca music? Aaron, I've never thought about it, but I love a little bit of soca, When I used to go to the gym before the girls, I've not been to a gym post children, but before the girls, best believe it was soca and dancehall getting me through those reps. Would you have more kids? It's a question that comes up all the time. The other day, I really had this overwhelming feeling like it would be nice to have children, like some more children. But I don't, this is going to sound strange, but those who understand will understand. A part of me would never want my children to have different fathers, and for obvious reasons they would. But also, I don't believe in having children after the age of 40. I'm nearly 40, and I don't have no man. So I don't think I will be having any more children. Also, the chances of you having twins when you, the first time is 1 in 250. The chances of you having twins again goes 1 in 12. And the idea of having two more children, whoo, I'd like just one, just a little one. But I'm also so blessed. I'm so blessed that I was able to have the twins that I always asked for. When I was in school, I used to always say, I'm going to have twins. I'm going to have twins. In my dad's side, we have twins in every single generation. I was like, I'm going to have twins. And look what happened. I got my twins, babes. What about their other heritage? Do you teach or incorporate those? No. So their other background is English, white English, and Chinese. When they were little, I used to take them to a Mandarin class. And then I quickly realized I was never going to be able to maintain French, which is clearly not my language. And I'm learning that for them. And then to learn Mandarin, which the tones of Mandarin are very hard. I can say ni hao ma. I can say oh hao hao. I can say wo shi, April. I can say wo shi lao shi, which is I'm a teacher, even though I'm not a teacher. I did a little bit of Mandarin, and those are the things that stuck with me. But I will never be able. Oh, ni chunar, where are you going? She she, thank you. But that's about it, babes. So no, I don't go into teaching them their other parts. And to be honest with you, I did try and connect with some of the Chinese side of their family, and they just don't connect back. And there's only so much reaching out that one can do before it's like, am I becoming a burden? So unfortunately, they will only have to deal with Jamaica. But fortunately, babes, Jamaica is the best place in the world. So they're not doing too badly. I may have missed it, but can you share why you chose to teach your children French? It was either going to be French or English, and I did both in high school, and I settled on French. To be honest with you, I'm not sure why. French or English? French or Spanish? My apologies. I'm not sure why I went for the French and not the Spanish. Honestly, I have no idea. Might have flipped a coin. Who knows? I don't think she sees your comments. She scrolled up too far. I'm very sorry. I'm coming to the comments, I promise. Child-friendly retreat, cooking together, doing activities together, and then perhaps some solo time. I think that might be the USP, babes. I think that we do it, that you can bring your children. We can also organize some childcare so you can get a little solo time. But yeah, I think that's the vibe. I think that's what we're doing for 2027. So guys, start save the money, because imagine, I think, I'm not trying to be funny, but my retreat would be bad man a bad man. Let's be real. I think it's also an age thing. Like 4-inch heels to graduate uni is not a problem, but high school, yeah, age is definitely relevant to this conversation. You agree with me? I'm not sure which part, but thank you. You should see the summer wear at my school. Ella, it's dreadful. But I also think this adultification of children is something that we're seeing a lot in our society. Even the mini-me culture, right? So you're a mom and you want to dress your child exactly like you. Of course, if it's a cute little long floral maxi dress, babes, do you. But when you're doing like your child in a little miniskirt crop top, I'm sorry, it's again, I'm happy to be the problem. I'm probably too old fashioned. That is okay. But even when I was looking for my girls for a swimsuit, it was a challenge to find a one piece. And I know people say that what is wrong with a child wearing a bikini, and the fact that I'm thinking that you're sexualizing the child is really showing that people are the problem, not the child. And I get that. But respectfully, my 2-year-old was never going to be in a bikini. Like never. My 5-year-old is never going to be in a bikini. It's just, it makes me uncomfortable. And again, we're all allowed to do things a little bit differently. What's the rules for drinks? In terms of my children drink water. Very, very occasionally do they have a natural juice that has literally been made on the spot. But when you have a juice, you are removing the fiber. And what that means is the sugar is more quickly entering your bloodstream, so you're more likely to get a sugar spike. But also, if you imagine eating an apple, it takes time, right? You're munching, you're chewing, you're exercising that jaw, you're toughening your palate. We have seen, studies have shown that children's jawline is softening because they're not chewing enough. They're slurping on these pouches, which is something again that I talk about in my course, because people think that the pouches are just convenient, but the pouches are not developing. Weaning, the process of weaning your child, by the way, in that early stage, so 6 months when you start weaning your child till a year, they are still getting their nutrients from their milk. Weaning is supposed to teach your child how to eat. If they're slurping all the time, that's not teaching them how to eat. So the point is that with juice, whilst people think that it's healthy, and I understand why we think it's healthy, I would always just say proceed with caution, because eating an apple takes a lot longer than drinking the equivalent. It is very easy to guzzle down a lot of juice and ingest far more sugar than they would have done if they were chewing it. I hope that answers your question. Me and you is not the same size. Big up yourself, baby. You have, what time do your kids go to bed? They go to bed at 8 o'clock, and I'm very strict about bedtimes. Are you fluent in French? No. How did you become fluent? Did you live in a French speaking country? So when I was 17, I was an au pair for about 5 months. And then I did not speak French again for about 15, 16 years. But I'm not fluent also. I have to learn every single day. I would tell my mom that I want certain things, and she would say, "I'm not you, look a friend them." Big up the Caribbean people. April, my girl, single parenthood is not for the weak. But the way you raise your girls is so inspiring. Thank you very much. But I do think it's really important to stress that the single parent thing is not a flex, right? I think sometimes people conceive that you're just like managing the best way possible and think that you're somehow advocating for that, and I'm not advocating for that. I also don't believe in this idea that men aren't necessary. If you're in a heterosexual relationship, of course, if you're not in a heterosexual relationship, this does not apply to you. But I do think that sometimes we're moving into a world where we want to empower women, which of course we should do, but in order to empower one, you don't need to knock the other. And I feel the same thing about like my pride, my Jamaican pride. For some people, it's a little bit over the top, right? And I said to people, just because you love one thing, it doesn't mean that you dislike another. It's okay. There's room for it all. And I think that that's particularly important when we look about the messaging that we're sending to young people. Would you ever come back to the UK? If you see me in the UK, best believe money I make, babes. I would only be there for a project. I'd only be there for like a TV project. And otherwise, the UK does not need to see me. I did know the restaurants. April, appreciate you so much. Thank you very much. I always get very excited when somebody has been to my restaurant in the past or knows of them. I mean, clearly somebody went, right? Because how would we have stayed open for so long? But honestly, it never gets old. When I did my scan, the sonographer, she was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was just like, "Oh, I have restaurants called, one of them is called Three Little Birds." And she goes, "In Clapham?" I was like, "Yes." She goes, "I've been there." I was like, "You have?" And she wasn't connected to Jamaica at all. I was very, very excited. What would you do if your family don't support the rules around food? I've shared a video on this and it will come across as very harsh, but I will say, I always advise, get people on your side first. It is easier when you're not swimming upstream against the tide. So get people on your side, speak to them about how you feel, speak to them about the why, and they don't need to agree. They don't need to agree at all. I'm a firm believer in let us agree to disagree, but they have to respect your boundaries. And if my family did not respect my boundaries, if they were trying to feed my children something, I shared a video that said that when they were very little, you could not eat things in front of my children that they were not allowed to eat. And some people think that that is excessive, but in those early stages, you cannot explain to a 2-year-old why I'm eating something and you're not allowed it. Obviously, post 4, I was able to explain what coffee does and that caffeine is not good for little hearts. And I was able to explain these things so then you can start to get a little bit more flexible. But in those early years, there was no room for flexibility, in my opinion. And so people knew that if they crossed my boundary, I take that as direct disrespect, and direct disrespect is not tolerated, babe. So you would not be around my children. And for some people, that might be unnecessary or harsh, but that is how I live my life. And I could never imagine someone asking me not to do something for the benefit of the children to support their parenting and me still go ahead and do it. That to me is not friendship. That is not love. That is not family. But again, I'm like, my loyalty is really black and white. And I know that for many, that it's an area of gray, but for me, certain things just don't run. Aisha, pick up yourself, baby. Scrolling through. How was your Africa safari trip? Babes, I shared a video on that yesterday. It's still one of the best things. So this is my children's second safari, and it was even better than the first. We went to Botley in Cape Town, South Africa, and honestly, I feel so blessed to have had that experience. And I shared it online because it's magical to see these animals. We were literally riding in the Jeep thing, and the lion was like just there. And I was just like, is this safe? But it was an incredible experience. I've never been to Tanzania. I would love to go. Tanzania, I'd love to go. I'd love to go to Zimbabwe. I'd love to go to lots of places. I was looking at the map today and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much of the world to see, you know? Scrolling through. Hi, Loni. How are you, my darling? Miss Loni living abroad. Where are you living, baby? And where are you from? Oh, it's done the scroll. It's done the scroll. Let's see if we can get back up. Ah! See, have I ever visited St. Vincent? So this is as far as it's going to let me go. So if I've missed your questions above, I'm going to get through all of them. And if you don't hear me answer them, it means that we've lost it. You can wheel and come again. I've never been to St. Vincent, babe. Should it be on my list? It's not really on my radar. Pops is watching. I don't know if you heard me bigging you up at the beginning of the live. Probably not. But I was just telling everybody how amazing you are. You love my hair. Thank you. I'm not very happy with the hair because as you can see, the parting is not even, and I will not be going back to them again. And I've been meaning to do a video that says that I only want black people braiding my hair, and I hope people are not offended by that, but it is real because what is going on? And I swear it's only been a week and already it just come out. But thank you. I'm glad that you love it. Where are we going? I love your content and the way you raise your children. Kizana, big up yourself. Thank you very much. Are you concerned about if your kids try something out of another child's packed lunch at school? So Zaini, my children aren't at school, and no, I'm not worried about those types of things. I believe in communicating. I don't think it's a big deal. My children have been offered things out of packets and they will tell you that they can't eat them. We also accept things from people. I shared a video on this where we accept something that someone has given us. Like we've had a street vendor give us some chocolate cake thing in a packet, clearly not on our to eat list, sorry. We accepted it and then we gave it to the cleaner. I believe in passing on the gratitude. I really also want my girls to learn how to be grateful, to say thank you, and I think that that's an important part of learning. Sheila, big up yourself, baby. Do you co-parent with their dad? No. As a mom with almost 2-year-old that's already introduced to screens, how do you go back? Easy, take it away. But the main thing about being screen free is that we have to be honest with ourselves. As the adults in the room, you also have to be screen free around your children, particularly in those early days. So before my children were 4, my phone was never in the room. I would go and get it to take a picture. I would go and get it to take a video, and then I'd put it outside of the room on a bookcase. And the fact is that most of us as adults, we tend to pick up our phones even when we don't need them. It's out of habit. And so in order to have a screen-free childhood, you have to be honest about your own screen use, because you cannot sit on your phone and then tell your child no. It doesn't make any sense. But 100% you can go back. And I promise you, Kizana, that you will see results. I have so many people who have told me that since seeing my content, they have decided to go screen-free and they have quickly seen changes in their child's behavior, and that's for the better. They have a cake, but it's not in a packet. Even if it's, my children will ask you, did you make it? They will ask you if there's sugar in it. They will ask you if there are numbers in it. I'm not worried. I think that people have this idea that because I put so much care and thought into my children's diet that I'm somehow terrified that they will ever eat sugar. They will 100% eat sugar one day. When we go to a restaurant, for example, I don't ask them what oil are they using. I'm a restaurateur by trade. I know that you have to make your margins. I know that in your fryer, you are not putting extra virgin olive oil, babes, because restaurant margins are very small. So you are trying to make as much money as possible. But I don't go there feeling hyperactive. I go there knowing that my children do not eat certain things in our house. And if you had a restaurant and you put a little sugar in your pesto, I can't do anything about that. I try and choose the best things on the menu based on like the best case scenario, but I don't have a heart attack over the things that I can't control. How about having to work on a laptop? So I do think that working on a laptop is better than a screen, but again, I wouldn't do that around my child before like the age of 4. because I don't think they can understand the difference. And I appreciate that not everybody's lifestyle is able to accommodate that. So I would say strongly that you should communicate with your child. You should say to your child, I am going to answer an email for work right now, so that they understand what you're doing. But also, I think that sometimes, you know, when you give an inch, you take a mile, that applies to our own actions. Sometimes if we say, okay, I'm just going to do a little bit of work on the laptop, that little bit of work becomes hours on end, and your attention is just to a device. Again, when people ask me, why do my children listen to me, or what do I do when they don't listen, my children always listen. And I do think that a part of that is because they always have my attention. They have my undivided attention. What that means is, babes, I'm always tired. As I mentioned before, I have to go to my bed at 2 to 4 in the morning, because during the day, I'm giving my children all of my attention. And as you may know, I don't have help or other people. I do get a nanny for a week when I have to film the podcast. But again, my children are they don't have to yearn for my attention. They don't have to do things to act out. But also, I have earned their trust. I do think sometimes as parents, we presume that our children must listen to us because we are their parents. And I don't think of it that way. I learned very early on that children do not care about your title. They don't care if you're mom, your dad, your auntie, your cousin, whatever. They care about how much time have you invested in your relationship with them. And the reason my children listen to me is because they trust me. They trust the outcomes. They know I'm super consistent. Even if we go to the park and I say, you have one more slide, and they say, can I have another? There have been times where between me and you, I would not mind if they went on the slide again. But again, when they're little, they don't understand the nuance. They don't understand the flexibility. So I believe that when your children are very small, it is important to stick to what you say, even if you have room for flexibility. So I would still say, no, we have to leave. Not because I want to be mean, but because it's important that they understand the boundaries. And believe it or not, they thrive with the boundaries. They thrive with the consistency because they always know the outcome. When my children do something now, so for example, they'll jump off of somewhere that don't look safe, I won't tell them stop jumping. I will ask them, do you think it's a good idea? And they will say no, because it's dangerous, and then they will stop. The point is because your rules have been consistent all of the time, you get to a stage in your parenting where you don't have to keep repeating the rule, because the rule has never changed. And presumably your child understands the rule, you've explained the rule, and you just need to remind them. Sometimes just asking the question allows them to answer, and that is the reminder that they need. I hope that makes sense. And I hope it doesn't come across as insensitive, because I do understand that some people have to work from home and you have to do things. But as I say all the time, everything in life has an opportunity cost. So if you honestly, hand on heart, cannot reduce your own screen time for whatever reason, that's fine. But don't be surprised when you have to reap the negative benefits of that behavior. That's just the reality. Where are we at? You're such an inspiration for many to do better for themselves and their children. Thank you very much, Neve, or Neve. I hope I've said that right. Miss Loney from Vietnam. Babes, did you move to Vietnam from somewhere else? Because it says living abroad. Where in Vietnam are you? We were in Vietnam last year. Also, the chance of multiple births after 40 increases as well. 100%, babes. What school did you attend in Jamaica? So I went to Hillel Prep School, and then I went to Campion for one term, because them said Campion is where all the smart kids go. So I was like, sign me up. I've never been there, but that's where I want to go. I went to Campion for one term. It never worked out. And then I went to boarding school for another term, and then I came back to Hillel. Whenever someone asks me how am I going to parent, I'll just direct them to your page. You have it down. Aaron, big up yourself, baby. Vaccines. So I have shared a video about vaccines. Vaccinations are the only thing that I will not speak about publicly. I'm an open book. I have no shame. I don't mind talking about anything, but vaccines are something that I will not speak about, because I do not think that I am the best expert to share. And I really want to encourage people to do their own research and be careful, because there are a lot of myths going around about vaccinations. There was a doctor, which I shared in this video, that there was a doctor who his license was removed. He was no longer allowed to practice medicine because he was saying that vaccinations caused autism, and that was found to be absolutely not true. I appreciate other people have their own anecdotal evidence, and that's fine, but I will not be talking about vaccines. No, I'm not living in Jamaica, baby. How did I meet their dad? At work. That was the only way I was going to ever meet someone, and he came to my restaurant. And I was working, because I was working 7 days a week, 20 hours a day, no exaggeration. But you know, the lack of sleep from the restaurant days also was good preparation for motherhood. I can work on no sleep, I can last on no sleep. And I'm not promoting no sleep. I do think it will be the death of me, and it's something that I hope to get more of. But I'm just saying, where some people really can't function, like I have a friend, she needs her 8 hours. If she does not get 8 hours of sleep, she's not functioning. And we laugh about it all the time, because I'm able to function on very little sleep. For my grad, I wore a heel, but it came off a few hours. Aaron, oh my gosh, you have me cracking up. When will they have screen time? I'm thinking closer to 7, but it will not be idle screen time. It will be watching things. Again, just to be clear on screen time, watching things with your child is very different to them sitting there watching it passively. Think of it as reading a book. You know, when you read a book and then you ask questions about the pictures and you make sure that your child is engaged and there's a feedback loop. The issue with screen time is that there's no feedback loop. So when I say screen time, that does not include speaking to family on FaceTime or on WhatsApp or whatever, because there's a feedback loop, right? The person is speaking to you. Screen time means that you are sitting and watching something passively. So if you are watching something with your child and you're engaging with it and making sure that you're creating that feedback loop, then that is also going to be much more beneficial than, yo, sit down in a corner while I do some work. Very, very different. There's age appropriate ways to match. Kyra, I'm not sure which part you're talking to, but anything age related, I tend to agree with. You laugh, but little girls in tiny shorts with their cheeks out. Right, Ella? That is just not the flex. The diva is live, baby, big up yourself. Children should be children. My dad had this saying, and he said, you have one chance to be a child and a lifetime to be an adult. And at the time, honestly, I never liked it. I never used to like it. I could not wear nail polish. I remember being 14, I got grounded because I tried to sneak a little nail polish. I had my ears pierced for the first time when I was 12 years old. You know, I never used to like the saying, and now I completely agree with it. Let children be children. And I know for some people, they're always like, oh, let kids be kids, as it refers to my food. And I'm just like, we have different opinions on what that means, and that's also okay. Scrolling through. Greetings, Maya. Big up yourself, baby. Do you shop a lot? No, not at all. I don't spend money on clothes, on things like, I mean, I spend money on food. I spend money on food and flights, but I'm not into shopping. Greetings from Suriname. Big up yourself, babes. My favorite show is live. Hi, Ashley. How are you? Aaron, girl, for me, I love my country of Trinidad. I always say I live in paradise. Honestly, I'm manifesting a TV show about carnival. Imagine if we could get this to happen next year. That would be amazing. Sounds like you're not too keen on the UK. What was wrong with it? The UK wasn't keen on me, babes. My energy doesn't align with British energy. To be honest with you, I came to the UK 10 years ago to be on The Apprentice, and I thought that that was going to get me into the media space. As you guys know, I like to talk a lot, and I genuinely love television. I love working with big productions. I love being able to speak to people. I love being able to broaden people's perspective on what they think of when they think of Jamaicans. I just love everything about it. I love everything about television. I love the waking up early in the morning and connecting with the makeup artist. Like, I have an amazing makeup artist for Cooking with the Stars. Her name's Jade. I talk to her outside of the show, and I like that camaraderie in the morning when you're a bit tired, but there's laugh and joke and good vibe. I just love TV. I love TV. And basically, I felt like in the UK, I had reached a ceiling relatively quickly. You know, people would say that you are great to work with, they would be very complimentary, but I also find that in England, people feed you compliments, but they don't necessarily mean them, and those compliments don't lead to more work. I also find in the UK that when you are black on television, you are expected to be a caricature of Black culture in a way that I was never going to be comfortable with. The criticism that I would get from the public that didn't like me was, who do you think you are? All you do is cook. And I do think that there is an element of, I should come to the set and I should kind of bend my shoulders, and I should be oh so grateful for the opportunity that makes you lose yourself in that gratitude. Whereas, babes, I'm from Jamaica. When I turn up to set, I don't look pop down. Okay, I might arrive, I look a pop down, and then we get into hair and makeup. The red lipstick is on, the smoky eye is there, and I put on 4-inch heels. I'm already 5'11" and 3/4. Don't take off the 3/4. So I'm nearly 6 foot. Put on the shoes, 6'4". Babes, I let the people know we've arrived. And that energy is just not what the UK wants. Also, if you look at UK television, it tends to be the same people doing all of the shows, and I just felt like I wasn't going to get the opportunity to do anything more. So I'd been a judge on MasterChef several times, and the goal was to get to the UK and let people know what you can do, and it was clear that they didn't want me to do any more. So it was time for me to leave. Ma'am, why is your hairstyle similar to Kai Green? I don't know who Kai Green is. Is that good? Is that bad? I'm not sure. Did you watch MasterChef when you were on it? I haven't watched the last episode. I haven't had time, but I would like to watch it. I hope I came across well. Ali, did you watch my last episode on MasterChef? Caribbean islands are the most beautiful places in the world, in my opinion. I love traveling though, babes. I could not agree more. But I'm definitely in my homesick phase. Your papa there watch give me, babes. Dad, I heal you up a whole heap of time. You came late. The whole first part of this live was bigging you up. All the people, everybody knows that I have the best dad in the world. And I was telling them about the message that I sent you and how grateful I am, and the blessing to have a dad that doesn't just support them with words, but puts the money down. Our family are fortunately very my house, my rules. I also think it helps that I have the youngest, in terms of, I have a big family, but I'm not really connected to them, but I have the youngest, or at least one of the youngest. So people kind of listen to me. And also I have listen to me vibe, my energy says you should listen to me. Where are your children now? Sleeping, babes, because it is 1:25 in the morning. What country do you live in? I don't live anywhere. I live out of a suitcase. What are your rules on toys you buy for your children? In terms of the type of toy, so I don't believe in lots of toys. I do believe that most children have too many toys. I've been to people's houses, and boy, it is like a toy center. And I just don't understand how children aren't getting distracted. Well, I mean, I do understand they are. The studies all show that your children having too many choices isn't a good thing. So yeah, we have toys, but very limited. They tend to be educational, and they don't have like lots of flashing lights or overstimulating. When you carry the girls for fishing and scuba, oh, is that a question? I would love to carry them fishing. They haven't been fishing yet, actually, and they do love to eat fish. Scrolling back up because I have lost all of the comments. So we're going to go back and see if I can find where I was. I'm very sorry. It's not my fault. It's TikTok's fault. I have a 5-month-old baby, and it's so exhausting on us parenting the right way, but it's so worth it. Babes, pick up yourself every time for doing the best for you and your baby. I hope you are loving, I don't know if you're a mom or a dad, but I hope you're loving parenthood. And honestly, I know it's so cliche, but the time really does fly. Every day my children change, and it is just incredible privilege to be able to notice the small changes from a day-to-day basis. I homeschool, and I didn't with my older ones. I have 5. You have 5 children, babes, big up yourself. And yes, investment is clear. They feel safe. Wow. I'm always in awe of people with multiple children. Were you brought up this way, or how did you get all of this knowledge? So I've said before, I was brought up very privileged, but I do things a little bit differently. Both my parents are workaholics. My dad is definitely a workaholic, which is where I get my work ethic from. But I don't think that I am in a place financially at all near to where he was when he had me. So that's where I'm definitely lacking from a financial perspective. I'd like to think that I make up for it in other ways, the time spent with my children for sure, but a lot of the principles from my childhood are what I exhibit now, minus the mom leaving part. That part we don't repeat. Can you share the product names? What research do you recommend a new parent to do with vaccinations? And are there products you all use, clean ingredients like shampoo and toothpaste? So for toothpaste, I use a brand called Allodent. It's a fluoride-free toothpaste. For their skin, like the lotion, I make the lotion themselves. For hair, I just use something that is sulfite-free. But again, I use very natural things on their hair. So I'll just put a little bit of Jamaican castor oil. I'm not a big hair person myself, so that's not a focus. And luckily, them hair just grow by itself, so I don't need to worry about it. How old did you have your twins? You have so much knowledge. Babes, I'm an old soul. I'm an old soul. I had my girls when I was 32. What time do your girls wake up? They wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and they are very, very prompt. A little too prompt, if you ask me. When you carry the girl, oh, fishing scuba, got that question. Scrolling through. I'm new here, but you remind me so much of Terry Carell. You are new here, babes, because nearly every day someone tells me that I remind them of Terry Carell, and I'm not sure why, but I love her, so I love the compliment, babes. How did you know you wanted kids, and how many? How many? I think you meant how many. How did I know I wanted children? It's a really good question. So as I mentioned, when my mother left, I thought that I didn't want children anymore because I was just like, I was scared that I would repeat the histories of the past. And then I don't know when I knew. I think mothering my team, like I know I've said this before, but honestly, my team that I worked with, they were my family. Right, they were absolutely my family. And you know, when I first started in the restaurant business, most of my waitresses were all like 16. They were very, very young. And I took my role as a Black entrepreneur, and for some people they don't like talking about race, but for me it was very important because most people, you know, in London in those scenarios are not going to work for a Black woman. They're not going to work for a Black person. And they were from, you know, not necessarily deprived backgrounds, but not necessarily the most privileged backgrounds. And so I took my responsibility beyond just being their boss, right? I took it as the responsibility was to be their role model, was to make sure that I was keeping them on the straight and narrow. They would tell you like they could hear my voice outside of the restaurant because of the things that I would say to them. One of them started school, university, and I was the one that drove her to university. I was the one that bought her furniture. I helped build the IKEA furniture. I don't build the IKEA furniture for myself, but she didn't have a very good relationship with her family, and I just wanted her to feel supported. And I think that, again, going back to like why I created my parenting courses based off of myself as a boss was because that like environment definitely planted the seeds to show me that I wasn't going to be my mother, and that I could be the mother that I wanted to be. In terms of how many, I never thought about how many. I just knew I wanted twins. None such falls. Big up yourself, baby. Genius. Nice to see you, babes. We love you and your babies. Thank you very much, my darling. Would you ever write a book on parenting? So my course, Parent Like a CEO, is based off of the book that I hope to one day publish. It was easier for me I don't want to self-publish. I don't want to self-publish my books at all. I have self-published my children's book, which is The Magical Midnight Rainbow, which is based off of my girls, and it is so beautiful. Oh, let me show you. So this format is old. It's no longer top down. It's now sideways, but I'll show you like some of my favorite pages because based off of the children, one of my girls has blonde hair at the end and one is all blonde. So she's that. Then we have like, look at this. Is this not the cutest children's book ever? Which just celebrates food. Look at the cats. It just celebrates food. I don't know which page is my favorite page, to be fair. I think the girls' favorite page, I'll show you, is this one. So in the book, they eat these tomatoes and it says pop, pop, pop. And they shout pop, pop, pop every time. So I've self-published this, but I don't want to self-publish my parenting book and I don't want to self-publish my cookbooks. So the reason I created my courses was because I wanted to produce something that was of high quality that could help people now. So I don't need to wait for a literary agent. I didn't need to wait for a publisher. And it meant that people who really wanted to get the help that I think I can provide, but not necessarily on a coaching basis, which is obviously over a period of time, but they wanted the course now, they were able to get that. But it is my dream to be able to publish a parenting book. Hi from Antigua. Big up yourself, baby. Are your girls fraternal? Yes, they are. They don't even look the same. They look like Satif, them from two different people. My kiddos are older than yours now, but you give me so much inspiration. Thank you very much for sharing that, babes. Girl, I'm 17. But I'm loving the way you and your children live. I'm definitely going to raise my kids the same. Babes, enjoy your life. Before you have children, enjoy your life, my darling. Aisha, thank you very much, my darling. Can you do a cooking with kids series? Is that what the internet needs? So on my YouTube channel, I used to publish us cooking together, me and the girls cooking together. So obviously the recipes were 100% child friendly. And so I think I'm going to come back to that, Sam. I'll come back to us cooking together because they love it. They love cooking. I did see you on This Morning cooking. I used to be on This Morning on a regular, babe, before them dash me away. What country are you in? Indonesia. You can watch live mass on YouTube, but I think you should come to experience the real thing. Aaron, I would love to be there. Can I ask your age? I'm 37. I don't know why it's not like it's considered impolite to ask people their age. I'm very fine with telling you that I'm 37 years old. Feel free to decline. It's okay, baby. It's a safe space. Coming back through. The lady who won Bake Off alludes to the same issues you mentioned. She does. And I was really surprised that she felt the same way, considering her platform is huge. What's her name? Her name has just left me. Hussein. What's her name? Nadia. Thank you. So I hosted the main stage at National Geographic. They have a food festival in the summer, and so I was the host one year, and Nadia was actually one of the chefs. So I met her, we had a little chat, and I was so surprised that if you are Nadia Hussein and you still have these issues, there is no hope for little old April Jackson. So again, that was another little piece of confirmation that it's time for me to leave. You were on MasterChef. I'm not sure if you're telling me, Lucky Penguin, or if you're asking. I was a judge on the last professional season. I was asked to come back for a few episodes this current season, but I won't be able to make it. How do you explain to your children that they shouldn't eat certain foods? I explain why they shouldn't eat them. So from a sugar perspective, I explain that it's not good for their teeth and it doesn't need to go much deeper than that. They're only 5. Pops out here trying to humble you. Big him up after every comment. I'm a daddy's girl. So I'm probably the child that listens to him the most. SB, big up yourself, babes. It scrolled up. I'm gonna come back. I feel very hungry all of a sudden. I feel so hungry. All this talking has made me hungry. I don't even know what I'm going to eat. Scrolling back up so that I don't miss. I've scrolled so far that the screen gone. Okay, we're back in business. So true. UK TV presenters all seem to rotate around the same few. 100%. I remember seeing you on a cooking show, not MasterChef, but another one, Cooking with the Stars. Maybe it was that one. Podcasts are a good way to own your own voice, and social media has democracy. Yes, 100%. It has democratized the creative space. So my podcast, because it sounds like you don't know, babes, it sounds like you have not subscribed, is Babes, How Did You Get Here? You can find it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify under A Life Elsewhere. And that's what I've been doing. So I've been traveling, speaking to people who have decided to move abroad, and they're sharing the very interesting stories about their lives. I was very reluctant to do a podcast. I'll probably talk about that another time because I've already gone way over my 1 hour. But my friend Paul Brunson, who is also a TV presenter, he does like all of the Married at First Sight kind of dating shows. He's an amazing human being. And he advised that if I want to stay in this media space, I have to get a podcast. And so I took his advice, even though I didn't want to. When you said privilege, do you mean from a wealthy, financially rich background? So when I say that I grew up in a privileged household, I wouldn't say rich. My dad always raised me to say that we were comfortable. But 100%, I never wanted for anything materialistically, and that's what I mean by privileged, in the sense that I had access to all of the opportunities. Kids wake up at 7 o'clock. Would you ever think of becoming a travel agent or advisor since you're traveling so much? Someone else asked me this, and I signed up to learn about this travel agency thing, and to be honest with you, I've paid the subscription money and I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. It just feels like yet another thing to do that I'm not sure I really have time. Is it expensive to go to restaurants you go to abroad? It depends where you eat, babes. Like in Bali, you can definitely eat cheap. It's all relative. Accent is top tier. Thank you very much, Ellie, especially because the accent is very, very confused. So I'm glad that you like the vibes. I enjoy watching you. You inspire me a lot. God bless you. Thank you very much, Trinity the Dancer. Big up yourself, babes. Do you follow AFR? Yeah. I don't know what that means. I'm probably too old to understand. Please forgive me. I honestly hope to see you in Trinidad and Tobago sometime in the future. Babes, I like that you keep telling the universe. I would love to be there. Do I follow a religion? No. I respect all religions, but I don't follow a religion. I also admire faith, and I shared a video a couple months ago that I think we need to bring religion back. It was helping people have their moral compass, and now people are lost and confused. But obviously, there is a negative side to religion. It is the number one cause of war. Where can you buy? So I'm not allowed to tell you because it will block me. But think Uncle Jeff. If you know Uncle Jeff, a lot of people order things from Uncle Jeff. That's where you can get this. Uncle Jeff, the magical midnight rainbow. Just saying. I used AI, not ChatGPT. I know people think that I use ChatGPT to speak, but believe it or not, I do have a little brain in my big head. But I had to use AI to illustrate this because I can't draw, unfortunately, and I had a really clear vision about what I wanted. So no, I didn't do it by myself. Would you ever do a cookbook? I love to do a cookbook. I have sent out my proposals. I have had a couple of agents come back to me to say that they want to represent my cookbook in America. So I'll be making a decision very, very soon. Baby girl, you're sneaking in again. How are you, my darling? I don't restrict my 5-year-old, but she cooks with me, and so she won't eat crap anymore. That is great, babes. I love that for you and your little Bob. Oh. Can you do reviews on the restaurants you visit in the countries you're traveling in? Babes, I do review them. I shared a video on YouTube, I think it was yesterday, about a really great restaurant called Post and Pepper. This is in Stellenbosch, Cape Town, South Africa. And I will continue to share more of my full food reviews on YouTube. But yeah, it's hard to produce all the content in the babes. Even now, I'm supposed to be posting in an hour and I don't edit nothing yet. What age did you start teaching your daughters French? I'm pregnant now and really want to try. First of all, big up yourself. I hope you're loving pregnancy. Secondly, I started teaching myself French properly when I was pregnant. From the time they came out the womb, babes, I've been speaking French to them. Are you ever going to return to London? Why is everybody asking me if I'm going back to England? You miss me? You want to see me? I don't think I'll be in England anytime soon. I usually film some projects there around now, actually, and clearly I'm not there now filming them, so I don't think I will be there anytime soon. But of course, if an opportunity came up, I would love to be there and, film the things, start the things, have fun, and then keep it moving. I'm going to Bali next month. Can't wait for Nyam down the place. TT, Bali is one of my favorite destinations. I've shared a lot of Balinese recommendations on here, so I hope you have an amazing time. I love your vlog. Oh, my phone is gonna die. That is my cue. My phone is gonna die. Thank you very much. Natalcia, I hope I've said that right. I'm going to call you Mackenzie. I hope I've said it right, baby. Thank you for being so kind. Caribbean middle class has nothing to do with richness. It's all about access to, I'm not sure, access to the new Verish is about money. I feel you. You're gonna get the book. Thank you very much, Shen. If you do love the book, please leave a review because it's always nice and it helps the vibes. What is your opinion on parents giving kids the silent treatment? I think that's weird and I don't endorse that at all. Why would we do that? I'm a firm believer in you cannot communicate enough. What's your income at the moment? Just curious how you afford the lifestyle. Hopefully not too invasive. Not invasive. So let's be clear. This year is the least amount of money I've earned in my entire life. I come from the restaurant industry where the restaurants were actually successful. But now I am a parenting coach and I sell courses and things like these books, which I love. And I also have monetized my podcast. Where is your next journey? So I'll tell you some of the places we will be going to by the end of the year. I am going back home, obviously, going to Jamaica. I go to Jamaica at least once a year. I haven't been there yet, and I'm definitely homesick. I will be going to the States, which I have not been to the States post-COVID, so that will be interesting. I'm going to go to Philippines. I've thought about adding Sri Lanka to the list, but I only thought about that today, so I haven't planned anything yet. I will also go back to Indonesia. I'll probably go back to Dubai because that's kind of how you get to everywhere else. And I think that's it for the rest of the year in terms of travels. Um, Love the babes, babe, big up yourself. Um, Now I have to go. Aaron, have a great time. Thank you for staying with us. Where in Jamaica are you from? So I'm from Kingston. My family is from Westmoreland, Orange Hill, where the good stuff grows. If you know, you know. How long do you stay in one place or do you play it by ear? I tend to stay in one country for a month, but each week I tend to move to a different part of that country. What is your ideal goals like work-wise? Like your biggest dream is a cookbook or a TV show? So 100%, I have multiple cookbooks that I wish to publish. TV show, I have so many that I want to make. One being about carnival, that would be my dream. The goals are all around kind of like the media space. Also continuing to help other parents. I genuinely believe that I see things in a way that is quite simple and that can help people in a world that feels quite noisy, like a lot is going on. And basically, if I could just get over the next hurdle as it relates to TV, cookbooks, and parenting, I would be in a very happy place. Where are you based now, if not in England? So I have not been based in the UK for over a year. We have been traveling since January 2025. I don't have a base. How do your girls adjust to time zones? Seamlessly. They are incredible, and for them it is all very normal. They wake up some days and say, are we going to take a taxi or a plane today? Lovely live, thank you very much. Ella, thank you for joining in. Would love to connect with you when you come to Jamaica. We're in Montego Bay. Babes, send me a message. On that note, lovely people, I have one phone that is about to die. I've stayed a lot longer than I was supposed to, but that is what happens when the vibes are good. When are you doing West Africa? Babes, I'd love to. I would love to. Yes, I do Airbnb most of the time. Sometimes I stay in a hotel, but mostly it's Airbnb. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. I'll be back tomorrow around the same time. We can ask all the questions all over again. If your day is in the middle, enjoy the rest of it. If it is ending, sleep well. If it just starts, have an amazing day. I will see you tomorrow. Big up yourself, and thank you very much for spending all of this time with me. Bye.